And the 5 themes are the integration of best methods, common vocabulary, human at the center, the business of decision intelligence, and integrating predictive and value modeling. Let's jump in and delve a little deeper into these themes. Integration of best methods is practically the continuous march, starting from the different analytics disciplines towards the others. And eventually they will meet in the center somehow, and that meeting is not necessarily going to be the same. And how much of each discipline will contribute to the other will probably be very much use case based. But you can imagine, if you're anchored in decision analysis, that getting more of data anchored assessments, using more Bayesian statistics to generate estimates for the right parameters and metrics in your decision analysis, or using predictive analytics that allow you to be more precise potentially in assessing key parameters, and using AI or large language models and generating more alternatives or helping frame even the problem. There's a lot of growth in that direction. At the same time, if you're anchored in data sciences or AI, decision framing, value modeling, understanding organizational decision making, and facilitative or elicitation methods, basically how we engage with the human part, are going to be critical to add so that you can get more effective. And that's where we can meet eventually in decision intelligence in the service of value of organizations and decision makers. The second theme is about vocabulary. We all use a lot of different vocabulary. Take, for example, how we refer to uncertainty or variability. People use likelihood or uncertainty or probability or error sometimes. Look how we refer to parameters or metrics. You can hear words like a parameter or decision criteria or a feature sometimes. We also have a lot of language that we use around information organization and how parts of the data relates to each other, the relevance or causality or predictiveness, etc. So what we need is to build a common vocabulary that helps us have the conversation. That would require us to build a detailed explanation of these different vocabulary terms and understand the connections between them, as also the contrast between them, and build a common canon that we can later use as a language for building those interactions together. The third theme is humans at the center. This is the concept of head and heart that David had mentioned. In it, basically bringing the human part to part and parcel in the process of building the analytics, and thus framing in a decision maker centered way, understanding preferences and values, and building around the user experience, the human who's interacting with the analytics, and paying a lot of attention to the complexity of the analytics, because ultimately we know that it is really in service of a human, and thus we need to build it for a human who can understand that complexity. This is where visualization becomes very critical to reduce the level of complexity. We have a lot of tools that we can use for that, from facilitative interviews and elicitations and behavioral psychology, and understanding the cognitive biases that humans come to the table with, and thus be ready to adjust for that. And understanding decision norms and cultures in organization. Applying design thinking helps us organize and design around the human as well, and keep in mind organizational change management as well. So there's a lot of aspects to how the analytics interacts with the human that we need to pay attention to. The fourth theme is around building the business of decision intelligence. What we mean by that is that we need to build a branding and the practice of decision intelligence. As we move to that center that amalgamates the different disciplines, we need to think beyond the tools and techniques alone, because that's not going to be adequate to have enough brand recognition and understanding in organizations and in industries to really effect the right investments and integration of skill sets and capabilities. That means we need to generate a way to talk about our brand. What is that brand? And integrate the messaging and marketing that comes with that in a way that can be understood by users of analytics who are not anchored in any analytics discipline. And pay a lot of attention to how we construct teams and roles within those teams to make sure that those integrations are effective in the organizations that they're applied to. And lastly, integrating predictive and value modeling. There's so much more to analytics than prediction, and that's, the currently AI and data sciences are anchored very much on prediction, but we need to challenge the absence of value metrics in predictions and include the so what question in it by integrating the value that comes in association with the different sides of prediction and thus understand the implications of those predictions and optimize for that potential. So integration of those modeling techniques in value and predictive analytics is going to be very important. With all